So the ANC has launched its inaugural local government barometer to serve as a scorecard on the fulfillment of its election manifesto. So this barometer will be released on a quarterly basis, and the first installment is aimed at providing an assessment of the party's performance. Mayors and councillors will each sign performance agreements and will be measured against agreed targets. Let's unpack the story for you now, along with some other election-related matters. Joining us is the ANC's media relations spokesperson, Dakota Legoete. He joins us via our phone lines this morning. Mr. Legoete, thanks very much indeed for your time on the AM report. This is an important measure, not only for the party itself, but for South Africans as they decide on where they will make their X's on Monday.
Indeed, it is a great project for our country, given the fact that we want the African National Congress to be more accountable, to be more just and more fair to South Africans, in particular our ratepayers and taxpayers. So what we are going to do with the barometer, it will be the voters, including the larger society, on a quarterly basis on how are we progressing with the commitment we have made in our manifesto. Secondly, it will be a tool of monitoring our performance in all spheres of government, but in particular in local government. Issues that will be monitoring would be on issues of building ethical governance, dealing with what we call integrated planning, the district development model, that will work in terms of infrastructure development, economic growth, industrialization of some of our municipalities, including recapitalization of some of our agricultural programs as part of integrated planning. We will also deal with issues of municipal governance in terms of finance and management, issues that are raised by the Auditor General, the queries as part of the scorecard. On a quarterly basis, each and every municipality under the African National Congress would be expected to tell us how far are they with issues which were raised by the Auditor General, what are the remedial actions that the institutions have taken, and all those particular matters are matters that we'll be looking at. The other point that we'll be looking at is the question of the creation of an integrated administrative system, wherein all of us would have to sing from the same hymn book in terms of our understanding and interpretation of legislature, regulations, and all statutes as enshrined either in the Constitution or in acts of Parliament in the country. Because currently, that's what we are looking at.
Mr. Legoete, if you don't mind me coming in there, you know, I wonder how voters will be looking at this intervention by the ANC and perhaps whether they will be asking themselves, in particular municipalities that are run by the governing party, where service delivery has fallen far below, and this is a euphemism, far below what residents there would have expected. Perhaps they're telling themselves this is too little too late, that it's a last-ditch effort by the governing party to keep their vote?
Look, issue of human capital development, it's a moving target. As you do this, there's a new demand. As you do this, there's a new demand. Like, for instance, in the past, in 2009, as the ANC, we committed to deal with bucket eradication. By 2014, we announced that we have dealt with it. But as we are talking to you now, there's somebody somewhere building a shack expecting sewer to be collected, to have water. And all these particular things are a moving target. And as they are moving target, it means you also have to move with the times in terms of working towards improving the services, working towards improving the conditions of the lives of our people, and that's what is happening. So it can't be late for us to make an intervention, and it can't be late for any wise man to change his mind as and when needs arise or as and when demands arise. And as it is the case for now, that's what we are doing at the African National Congress, that we are bringing a barometer so that there can be accountability and justice, because part of the issues which are raised by our people is the issue of poor service delivery, the issue of corruption, is the issue related to councillors and some of the public representatives who do not do their work. And as a result of that, we need to bring a tool that will monitor how they perform, including issues that were raised by the Auditor General in her report, that some of the municipalities are not even taking any initiative to answer on queries, and they are piling up year after year, term after term, and I don't think it's correct for us. And as the ANC, we had to bring this particular tool as part of the measures that we do as a party to get things right and to fix all the problems. Even though some of them will not be fixed at their goal, but at least there must be a progress towards the positive.
So shall we talk about some outstanding issues now, 4 days until we all go to the polls on the 1st of November? The candidate list process for the governing party still remains an issue. Is the party expecting court action once the elections are done?
Look, as the ANC, through our president, Comrade Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, we have made a commitment of the NEC decision that where there were anomaly in terms of the list process of the ANC, all members are requested to rally behind the current candidate. Immediately after elections, we'll then dispatch the team that will come and make investigation. Where there was an anomaly and there's a proper ruling, either to reverse the process or to go for by-election, that will be done. But it can only be done if all of us rally behind the current candidate so that the ANC can win, so that the ANC can oversee its processes. But once another party that can win, we don't have a say.
Yeah. I mean, how do we read, for example, something like the barometer that we've been discussing at the beginning of our interview, with the ANC's Deputy Secretary General, Jessie Duarte, yesterday telling that media briefing that the party is at quite an unprecedented time. It's admitting ahead of elections that it is open to coalitions.
Yes, look, as it is the case now, and as it is the trend globally, the issue of coalition is something you cannot avoid in a situation where democracy has given you the results which you never expected. But
it sounds like you're preparing for the worst in these local government polls.
No, we're not preparing for the worst. So far, it's only that we are pragmatic. We want to face reality the way it's supposed to be, because even in 2016, there are instances like in Ekurhule and a number of municipalities where we had coalitions, and now it looks like it's going to be something of the future. And as the ANC, we have to prepare for it. We can't say we will put our head on the sand when reality talks other things. And it's something that we're appreciating as a reality of today in terms of municipalities, because we have realized that in municipalities, there are instances in some localities where we don't get a total overall, override win. So in that particular instance, we are ready to engage any other political party that either share our vision or mission, or either it's like-minded, so that we can assist our communities to establish a municipality. Because once we can establish a municipality, then we don't have any basis of policy and budget implementation, which would be detrimental to the communities. And that's why we want to be open-minded as the ANC to allow a possibility where we make it 100% or 50+% to allow for engagement with any other role player within our space.
I mean, a critic or an analyst might perhaps say that the ANC is preparing for what is a sign of the times, that the party's declining support is going to be shown in these local government polls. And what Jessie Duarte had to say yesterday, admitting that the party is open to coalitions, it's a sign of things to come, perhaps?
Look, as democracy strengthens, as the country, people are allowed to have more choices, our support base will be affected, because that is the strength of democracy, because people have got choices, they have got variety to choose from, and we can't force them as the ANC to say, you have to vote for us. So far, we are working on the ground to campaign with a full hope that we will retain most of our municipalities. Where we can retain, we'll engage with other parties to establish municipalities. But the issue of the support declining, it's true. There are negative things that happened in the past which affected the reputation and the standing of the ANC within society. And some of the people got cross with us. And I think it's incumbent on us as the leadership of the ANC and membership to humble ourselves and go and persuade people who who got angry with us to come back to the party or to vote for the African National Congress, because that's the best thing to do, because we can't wish it away. There were commissions which established that some of our comrades erred in their responsibilities. There are reports of the Auditor General that in some of the municipalities there are challenges, and we can't run away from that particular problems. We have to confront it for the good of all, because we are a governing party. At the end of the day, we have a responsibility to provide the taxpayer and a ratepayer services.
Dakota Legoete, thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning. Everything that you've just said, along with the unprecedented rise in the number of political parties and independent candidates standing in these local government elections, that 13 million eligible voters have not registered to go to the polls. What will it all mean for the governing party and certainly other big parties as well? Dakota Legoete is in charge of media relations for the ANC.